All right, so you're prepping for a Podiatry Assistant interview. Congrats. We've got a ton of RoleCatcher resources here to help you really just crush it. We're going to be talking about common questions, insider tips from the Podiatry Assistant Career Guide, and even how RoleCatcher's AI can give you an edge. Ready to dive in?
Let's break it down.
First things first, what does a Podiatry Assistant even do? You know, some people might think it's just like foot massages and comfy shoes, but
It's actually a lot more dynamic than that. Think about it like the podiatrist's right hand. You're supporting patient care, like from start to finish. We're talking taking medical histories, prepping the treatment rooms, even assisting with minor procedures. It's a really hands-on role.
I'm looking at this career guide here, and it mentions some interesting stuff like cutting toenails, applying dressings, and even advising patients on foot care. So it seems to be a really good blend of clinical skills and patient interaction.
Exactly. It's all about helping people regain their mobility and improve their well-being. Plus, the job outlook is really promising, with the aging population, and more awareness around foot health. This field is expected to grow, significantly.
Okay, so we've got the basics down. Now let's look at some common interview questions you might see. I'm looking at one here that seems to come up a lot. What inspired you to pursue a career as a podiatry assistant?
This is your chance to really show genuine passion. Interviewers want to see that you're not just looking for any job, but that you're specifically drawn to podiatry.
Right. Generic answers just won't cut it.
Yeah.
This interview guide actually says that. Interviewers are looking for real motivation here. So how can someone approach this question authentically?
Sharing a specific story or experience that sparked your interest is key. Did you maybe see someone struggling with foot pain and wanted to help? Or maybe you've just always been fascinated by the mechanics of movement and how it impacts our lives. You want to make it personal and relatable.
Yeah, I love that. Like a real aha moment that kind of led you down this path. Now, what if the interviewer follows up with something like, what are you most excited about in terms of working as a podiatry assistant?
I think that's a fantastic question because it goes beyond just skills and it digs into your values and motivations. So think about what truly excites you about this job. Is it the hands-on patient care, the opportunity to make a difference in someone's life, or maybe the chance to learn and grow in a field that's always changing?
Okay, let's go to another common question. How do you prioritize your tasks? When you're managing multiple patients at once? The art of time management.
Yeah, this question is all about showcasing your organizational skills and showing a clear process for how you would handle a busy workload.
So what are some key things to mention in your response?
Definitely highlight your ability to assess patient needs and determine urgency. You want to show that you can think on your feet and make smart decisions under pressure. You can also mention delegating tasks when it's appropriate, obviously under supervision, and the importance of clear communication with the team.
That makes a lot of sense. Showing that you can stay organized and focused when things get hectic is really crucial. What if they follow up with, can you give an example of a time you had to manage competing priorities? What did you do and what was the outcome?
It's always great to have a specific anecdote ready that really shows your skills in action. Think of a time when you had to juggle a lot of tasks, maybe in a fast-paced environment, and how you successfully navigated that situation.
All right, let's tackle another one. How do you handle difficult or challenging patients? This has got to be a universal experience in healthcare.
Oh, absolutely. This is all about demonstrating calmness, empathy, and really good active listening skills.
So how can you showcase those qualities in your answer?
I think sharing a brief anecdote about navigating a tough patient interaction can be really powerful. Focus on how you de-escalated the situation, how you problem solved, and how you stayed professional through the whole experience.
I like that. Show, don't tell. And what about those follow-up questions like, what strategies do you use to maintain composure when you're in a really difficult situation?
Yeah, that question goes deeper into your emotional intelligence and conflict resolution skills. You really want to show your ability to stay calm and professional, even when things are tough. You might mention techniques like taking a deep breath, actively listening to the patient to understand their perspective, or even seeking support from your colleagues when you need it.
Speaking of colleagues, let's talk about teamwork. How do you see the role of the podiatry assistant fitting into the broader healthcare team? This career guide mentions working with not only the podiatrist, but nurses, physical therapists, and other specialists.
That's right. Collaboration is key in this role. Think of yourself as a crucial link in the chain of patient care.
So strong communication skills are absolutely a must-have. You've got to be able to explain things clearly to patients, provide updates to the podiatrist, and really collaborate effectively with those other healthcare professionals.
Exactly. It's all about clear, concise, and compassionate communication.
Okay, back to interview prep. Let's talk about staying up to date with advancements in podiatry. Interviewers want to see that you're a lifelong learner, right?
Absolutely. A question like, how do you stay up to date with the latest developments and best practices in podiatry? That gives you a chance to show that you're committed to ongoing learning and professional development.
This interview guide suggests mentioning specific activities. What are some examples that would really impress those interviewers?
I think attending conferences and workshops is a great one, reading industry journals, maybe even mention a couple of specific ones that you follow, and participating in online communities and forums. Those are all great ways to stay informed and connect with other professionals in the field.
It's really important to show that you have a proactive approach to your career. Employers want to see that you're invested in staying at the forefront of your field.
Exactly. Now, if they follow up with, what are some recent advancements in podiatry that have really interested you, and why? You want to be ready to elaborate. This shows that you're not just passively learning things, you're actively engaging with the information and thinking critically about what it means.
So it's not just about what you know, but how you learn and apply that knowledge.
Ah,
And speaking of applications, can we talk about how RoleCatcher can help with interview prep?
oh yeah. This is where things get really interesting. RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you tailor your resume and practice your answers, specifically for the job you're interviewing for.
That sounds incredible. This beat the automated recruiter source I was looking at. It mentions that AI can actually analyze job descriptions and find missing skills on your resume. It can even score your resume against the job requirements. It's like having a personal career coach right in your pocket.
It's true, and it goes even further than that. You can practice interview answers with video and get AI feedback on your delivery, your content, and even your body language.
Wow, so RoleCatcher can help you tailor your resume and refine your interview skills to give you that extra edge.
Exactly. And when you connect this to the bigger picture, using AI tools like RoleCatcher can really be a game changer, especially in a competitive job market like this one.
This is amazing. I can't wait to dive into part 2, where we're going to explore even more questions related to the Podiatry Assistant role.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of Podiatry Assistants. Last time we covered some common interview questions, but there's so much more ground to cover to make sure you're really prepped for success.
Absolutely. I want our listeners walking into that interview feeling like they've got this.
Okay, let's jump right into some more specific questions that you might get. Here's one that focuses on patient care. How do you ensure that patients feel comfortable and informed during their visit?
The patient experience. Super important, especially when it comes to foot issues. Kind of a sensitive topic for people.
Exactly. Interviewers really want to see that you understand how important it is to create a positive and supportive environment for patients.
So what are some key points to hit when answering this question?
Well, it all boils down to communication. Explain how you would use clear and simple language, avoiding any complex medical jargon that might confuse patients.
Right. No need to throw around those fancy medical terms. It's about meeting the patients where they are.
Precisely. And don't forget about active listening. You want to emphasize that you'll take the time to understand their concerns and answer their questions thoroughly. It's about showing genuine empathy and building trust.
I love that. It's more than just treating their feet. It's about treating them like a whole person. What if the interviewer digs a little deeper and asks, what are some specific techniques you use to make patients feel comfortable?
Ooh, that's a great opportunity to showcase how thoughtful you are. You could mention things like offering a warm blanket or a glass of water, making sure the treatment room is clean and inviting, or just taking a few extra moments to explain procedures step by step.
Yeah, those little touches can make all the difference. Okay, let's shift gears to a question that tests problem-solving skills. Can you describe a time when you had to think outside the box to solve a problem for a patient?
This question is all about showing that you can think creatively and adapt to unique situations. Interviewers want to know you can handle challenges with a cool head and a resourceful mindset.
So it's not enough to just follow the routine. You need to be adaptable and quick on your feet.
Exactly. Take a moment to think back on your experiences. Have you ever come across a patient situation where you had to deviate from the standard protocol? Maybe you had to modify a procedure to accommodate a patient's limited mobility. or find a creative way to explain a complex concept in simple terms.
I see. It's about showing your initiative and willingness to go the extra mile for patients.
Precisely. And when you share your anecdote, be sure to highlight the positive outcome of your actions.
Okay, next up is a question that seems pretty straightforward. How do you ensure that patient records and documentation are accurate and up to date? Seems like attention to detail is key here.
Absolutely. Accurate documentation is like the backbone of any healthcare setting, and podiatry is no exception. Interviewers want to be confident that you'll handle this responsibility carefully and with a lot of precision.
So how can you show that you're up to the task?
Talk about your process for double-checking information, whether it's verifying patient details, confirming medication lists, or making sure all procedures are documented correctly. Emphasize your commitment to thoroughness and accuracy.
It's about being detail-oriented and understanding how important those records are.
Exactly. You might even mention your familiarity with any regulations or guidelines for maintaining patient records. This shows you understand the legal and ethical implications of accurate documentation.
Now let's move on to another question that emphasizes teamwork. How do you work with other healthcare professionals, like physicians and nurses, to provide coordinated care for patients?
Well, podiatry assistants often work as part of a larger healthcare team, so communication and collaboration are really important. This question is about showing your ability to work well with others.
So what are some ways to showcase those skills?
I think the best approach is to give concrete examples of your teamwork experience. Have you participated in case conferences, shared patient updates with colleagues, or coordinated treatment plans with other healthcare professionals? Sharing specific situations really helps to paint a clear picture of your collaborative approach.
Great idea. It's about showing your ability to communicate effectively, share information, and work towards a common goal.
Precisely. And speaking of common goals, remember we talked about RoleCatcher's AI earlier? Let's dig a little deeper into how it can actually help you prepare for these specific interview questions.
Yes. I'm so intrigued by this. That beat the automated recruiter source really caught my attention. Can you break it down for our listeners?
Of course. One of the most powerful features of RoleCatcher is that it can analyze job descriptions and figure out the key skills and qualifications that employers want. It can then compare those requirements to your resume and point out any areas where you might need to improve your application.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like having a personalized resume reviewer
Yeah.
right there in your pocket.
Yeah.
But it goes beyond resumes, right?
Absolutely. RoleCatcher's AI can also help you practice your interview answers with video, and you get really detailed feedback.
So it's like having a virtual mock interview, but with the added benefit of AI-powered insights.
Exactly. You can record yourself answering common interview questions, like the ones we've been talking about.
Yeah.
And RoleCatcher's AI will analyze your delivery, content, and even your body language.
That's so cool. What kind of feedback does it give you?
It can tell you if you're rambling too much, suggest ways to structure your answers better, and even offer tips on maintaining eye contact and projecting confidence.
That level of personalized feedback is amazing. I can really see how using RoleCatcher could help anyone who's prepping for a podiatry assistant interview.
I completely agree. It's a fantastic tool for anyone who wants to do their best and really impress in that interview.
This has been so helpful. I feel much more prepared to tackle those interview questions. What other exciting insights do we have for part 3? All right, welcome back for the final part of our Podiatry Assistant interview prep. We've talked about some tough questions and how RoleCatcher's AI can really help you prepare. But let's talk big picture here for a second. What does a career in podiatry actually look like?
That's a great question. So let's kind of shift gears a little bit and look at the career journey itself. You know, this career guide has a section called Career Stages, and it talks about how responsibilities change as you move up, from entry level to more senior positions.
Okay, so someone just starting out, what does their typical day look like?
Well, when you're first starting out, you're mostly going to be focused on assisting the podiatrist with patient care. So things like taking medical histories, prepping treatment rooms, and handling those essential tasks like nail care and applying dressings. It's really hands-on. You're learning the ropes.
Right, the foundational stuff. But what about as you get more experience? How does the role change?
As you start to gain experience, you might find yourself taking on more responsibilities, like, for example, educating patients on proper footwear and orthotics, those custom-made supports for the feet.
Oh, that's interesting. So you're not just following instructions, you're becoming more of a resource for patients.
Exactly. And as you move into those more senior roles, you might even find yourself collaborating more. with the rest of the healthcare team, making sure that the patient care is really seamless and coordinated.
Now, this career guide also talks about ongoing professional development, which we touched on a bit earlier. Are there certain certifications
Yeah.
or training programs that podiatry assistants can do to kind of further their careers?
Absolutely. So usually you just need a high school diploma or equivalent to get started. But a lot of podiatry assistants will actually go on and complete formal training programs. It can really boost their credentials and give them more opportunities. Some even become certified, which shows a really high level of expertise and commitment to the field.
So there's a real path for growth
Mm.
and specialization within this career.
Definitely. And there's this really cool section in the guide called Specialisms. It talks about how podiatry assistants can really focus in and become experts in certain areas.
Okay, so tell me more about that. What kind of specializations are we talking about?
Well, it really depends on what you're interested in and where you want to focus your skills. Some podiatry assistants will specialize in sports medicine, working with athletes to prevent and treat foot and ankle injuries. Others might focus on wound care. They become experts in managing and healing complex foot wounds. And some even specialize in pediatrics, providing care specifically for children's feet.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You can really tailor your career path to what you're passionate about and what you're good at. It seems like being a podiatry assistant is more than just a job. It's like a gateway to a whole world of possibilities.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And as you navigate this really exciting world, remember that RoleCatcher is there to help you every step of the way. Their AI tools can help you create a fantastic resume, practice for those tough interview questions, and even get noticed by employers who are looking for talented people just like you.
It's like having a career sidekick who's always there to guide you, help you reach your full potential. So to anyone listening out there who's feeling inspired to go for that podiatry assistant career, we say go for it.
Absolutely. Embrace the challenge. Prepare diligently, and remember, you've got this.
And one last thought. As you step into the world of podiatry, remember to stay curious, keep learning, and don't forget the importance of connecting with people, because you're not just treating feet, you're caring for people.